Hi, welcome to the channel. If you've not been here before, my name's Emma. This is Destination FBA and I sell on Amazon via the FBA program. So I've been doing this on and off for around 4 years now. I share a lot of my own journey on this channel, as well as hints, tips over on my Instagram, TikTok, and we've also got a great Facebook community as well. So I will pop a link to this in the description below. So just lately, I've been thinking a lot about my own business, how I can make changes and how I can increase those sales, how I can shift that old stock that's sat on Amazon shelves. So I definitely want to increase those sales so I can help the cash flow. Having a better cash flow will just help me to move things on. It'll help me to grow the business as well. Now I think sometimes we just need to sit down, we need to look at everything, we need to go back to basics, make sure we're following all the steps that we did right back at the beginning. So one thing we need to make sure we're doing, regardless of everything else, is following the basic sourcing rules. If you don't know how to source, how to analyse a deal properly, you cannot expect to get much back in return. Now sometimes finding a good deal can be difficult and it does take time to learn the whole process of sourcing, analysing. But if you can find something and it all looks great, you know what to look for, you know how to analyse it, then you can reduce the risk of bad buys and make sure you're only buying profitable items. Now whilst you can use the Amazon Seller app to scan in store when you're out and about, you're doing that retail arbitrage, I would really recommend you invest into some software like BuyBot Pro. Now this is then also going to give you access to BuyBot Go. So this is a mobile phone app, you can use it out and about, on the go. It gives you so much information. Now you'll be able to see if you can sell the item, you'll see if there's any known IP complaints, if it's meltable, dangerous goods. There's all those historical data charts as well. You'll just be able to look at all that competition data, you'll be able to look at everything, you'll be able to make a really informed decision before you make any purchase. So the three very basic rules you should be looking at when it comes to sourcing is profit, return on investment, and then your sales. So if you can do well selling on Amazon, you need to choose items that have got a healthy profit. Now if you choose products with a low profit margin, you might really struggle. If a lot of the competition jump on that listing, if that price comes down, you might not have much room for manoeuvre. Now if you can't compete on pricing, those items are just going to end up sat on Amazon shelves for quite some time, costing you money in long-term storage fees. So I like to try and source products myself that have got a minimum of 20 to 25% profit margin, so this just allows me that little bit of wiggle room if I do need to drop that price. Now remember as well that there's always going to be times where you're going to find a great deal that doesn't have much competition at all, but by the time you purchase that stock, by the time you prep it, you send it into Amazon, it goes live, you could find there's a whole load of other sellers on that listing. So you might go from having very little competition to all of a sudden having a lot of competition, really struggling to win that buy box. Now you really need to make sure you're hitting all three of those rules. So it's pointless finding a great item that's got a really good profit margin, a really good return on investment, if that item just does not sell. Now all this will do is tie up that money, it could cause you cash flow problems further down the line. Now if on the other hand those sales are great, you still want to take a look at that competition, see what kind of stock levels you're dealing with. This could just help, just give you a bit of an idea of how long it might take you to sell through that stock. Now don't just take a look at the current sales, current listings, take a look at all that historical data as well. Now it could be that you find a great item, but it actually turns out to be seasonal, so in cases like this you've got a very short space of time where you can actually sell through all that stock. So just be sure you're checking those sales, you're checking all that historical data. Now when you're working out your profit margins, your return on investment as well, you need to make sure you're including absolutely everything. So all your prep materials, you've got things like your boxes, your tape, your poly bags, absolutely everything needs to be accounted for. So this will just help to give you a clear costing. So you want to know exactly what money you're making after all those overheads taken care of. You need to know what those figures are and you need to be right. You cannot be 100% sure if you are not keeping proper records. So make sure you analyse those deals thoroughly, so be sure there's good profit margin, good return on investment, good sales, and be sure that you can afford to drop that price a little bit if needs be to compete with all those other sellers. So these are three very basic things you need to be following when you're doing any kind of sourcing, so whether it's retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, or even wholesale. Just don't get lazy when you look at those deals, it really takes no time at all, it can help reduce the risk of bad buys. So whether you're a new or an experienced seller, just take a step back every now and then, just make sure you go back to basics, make sure you're only buying good, profitable deals. Now as for all that stock that's sat on Amazon shelves that's just not shifting, I've gone through my repricer. I'm currently using Profit Protect Pro and I've set my strategy to super aggressive. So what this will do is just fight as aggressively as it can to help me win that buy box, get those sales, try and clear through all that stock. Now if nothing else, I'll at least get that original investment back, so I'll have that cash in my bank, I'll be able to use that to purchase more stock, just turn it all around, keep it moving as quick as I can. You don't want stock sat on Amazon shelves for months and months at a time, so if you can't afford to drop that price down, if you can't afford to compete, create a removal order, look to sell elsewhere. You need that cash in your bank, not in Amazon's. Now if you want to see some great ideas on how to source, check out some of my older videos. We have done one on reverse sourcing with BuyBot Pro, and I've done a video on how to spy on competition as well, so definitely worth having a look at that, learning other ways in which you can find new products, and just help increase that inventory that you've got. Now if you have any questions about today's video, please do let me know, but just remember to just take a step back every now and then, just take a breath, look at how things are going, look at how you could do things differently. Now, I do try and do this myself every few months, and I think it does make a big difference. It just makes me realise what little things I've let slip, what things I maybe need to pull back and just work a little bit harder on. Now, that is all for me today, but as always, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I will see you very soon.